My name is Andoni at Beryl Consulting Group, and I'm happy to be joined by Melissa Otto from S&P Global.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Thank you for being here. So today we're going to talk about tech, and I'm interested in learning, how were the mega cap tech earnings?
Last week we had most of the mega cap tech earnings report, and it was a mix. Some big outperformers and some disappointments for sure.
And what are you expecting from NVIDIA?
NVIDIA, is going to be exciting. In addition to all of the tech earnings last week, NVIDIA also hosted their large industry event called GTC in Washington, D.C. And it was, it didn't disappoint. Jensen Huang gave about an hour and a half keynote speech. And what's been really interesting about that is that since that event, one of the things we can see in the Visible Alpha data is that the Blackwell revenue numbers for the second half and also for next year have started to increase. And in particular, for next year, we've seen those estimates almost double.
Okay, and so what does this mean for asset allocation?
So I think, with those stocks making up approximately 40% of the S&P 500, they've done very well the past few years. And investors may be saying, okay, how much more additional upside do these have? And I think that's one of the big questions that many people came out of GTC with. How much additional TAM has not been captured by the market?
Of course. And so what are you expecting? Are you envisioning a rotation?
Well, I can't give clear buy and sell recommendations, but what I can say is that we're watching very closely what's going on in our data and how those estimates are moving. And one of the things that we can see is that NVIDIA continues to see upward revisions, as does Alphabet. And I think we're seeing a little bit more muted activity at Microsoft and Meta. As we also look at Amazon, Amazon's an interesting one because you've got this retail consumer space that is coming into the holiday season, and many may be wondering what's going to happen. Is this consumer going to remain resilient? And then secondly, their AWS business that's been firing on all cylinders and really outperforming. And we just saw that big announcement today with OpenAI, which shot the stock up.
Yes. Okay, great. Anything else that you're looking at that you would like to share?
One area we are looking at is the luxury space, because one of the things that's come out of consumer resilience is a bifurcation in the market where the upscale customer has been increasingly resilient, whereas the more budget-constrained customer has been increasingly budget-constrained, which means that you're seeing increased spending patterns and resilience, even more upside potential in those more premium areas. And we saw that from airlines. We saw it from American Express, LVMH numbers, Hermes. And I think that's an interesting area to pay attention to in the market.
I agree. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Great speaking with you too.
Thank you for joining us. Of course.